I'll tell you who you can trust. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. That's who you can trust. And I said this earlier. This is the goddamn, it's like they're in Edmonton, Alberta. It's the biggest house I've ever seen in Edmonton, fucking Alberta, Canada. Jesus Christ. But it's like the 10 or 12,000 people or however many thousands of people that are in these arenas are paid members of the studio audience. Brian, can you remember, even in the Attitude Era, did the people react to everybody as wholeheartedly and as full-throatedly exactly as they're supposed to than the WWE fans are doing right now? Can you remember?
WWE is getting reactions right now that are akin to like a bunch of bands touring together in the 60s. Like the stars are coming to town for this one night. We have to go see them and react to them like they're stars. AEW, not to make this a comparison right now, but in terms of the fan base, we just saw them have a pretty nice house in Chicago. Those fans didn't move. They sat there. And whenever you saw them, that's one of the things that really sticks out is the difference in reactions between those fans and WWE fans who are eating everything up like I've never seen before.
Well, and the AEW fan, they're down to the car wreck segment of the population. They just come to, if you pull out a table, they scream, "One more table." Or if you set somebody on fire, throw some more gas on him. Or what? They just want to see this bullshit, right? They don't care about any of these people. And nobody's a star. They're going to see a bunch of fucking idiots kill each other. But the WWE shows, they're looking at and now everybody said, oh, Cornette's a WWE, what do they call it, stan? The kids say stan, or he's on the WWE side. No, I'm saying this is ridiculous because they're doing as little as possible that you possibly can do to get this. This is not the best wrestling I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination. And it's kind of boring in spots, but goddamn, these fans of this, many of them who have never lived through another era to seen it done any better, are loving this shit. And everybody's over. And like I said, what a fucking house in Edmonton, Alberta. We talk about they still can't match the record set in the territory days. Stu Hart didn't have a fucking building this size to begin with and never had that many people. I wonder if any of the Harts were there to see, like, what the fuck? Remember that time I told you Lawler was in Evansville for Raw in like 98 or whatever, and they sold out the big building, 12,000 people? Remember when he came out for commentary?
No.
They're doing Raw, and it's the height of the Monday Night Wars, and they're at Roberts Stadium, not the old Evansville Coliseum. We're on every Wednesday night, 52 weeks a year for years. The Memphis territory to have between 500 and 1,200 people in that building. And that was the Wednesday night show, and it was what it was, right? There's 12,000 at Roberts Stadium, and they introduce Lawler as the color guy with JR, and he comes out on the stage, and they fucking, because it's Lawler. He was on TV there for 20 years. And they give him a standing ovation. And they're fucking screaming, yeah. And he looked around from the stage at those 12,000 people, and he said, where were all you son of a bitches when I ran this town every Wednesday night?
That's funny.
So anyway, it's got to be the same thing up there with the Hart family. But
yeah, Bruce Hart usually shows up, but they turn him away.
And, oh, come on. That's what they mean by a turn away crowd up there?
No, I'm kidding.
But anyway, they so they acknowledged, or Cody rather, came out, and, you know, he signs the kids' signs on the way, and he shakes hands, and he's smiling, and he brings everybody into the entrance, and they chant Cody, and they cheer, and etc. And as I said, that's when he acknowledged Kevin Owens, the match with him, and he acknowledged Michael Cole, who's back on SmackDown now. I guess they're switching announcers for their various new networks. And then all he had to do was say, well, basically, you know, I'm probably going to be interrupted pretty soon. So I'd like to send an invitation out to the Bloodline, and they just play the music. God damn, and the music plays, and Solo comes out with all three of his henchmen. And Solo gets in the ring and has to face off with Cody. The other three stay on the floor. Tonga Loa, and of course, the star of our show, Jacob Fatu. And as soon as Solo speaks, the people's, we want Roman. We want Roman. And they're already calling the next goddamn big main event match. So Solo asks if Cody's ready to defend against him, and he had him beat at SummerSlam if it wasn't for Roman Reigns, and they chanted again. And Cody said, well, we got a season premiere next week, and the fans are chanting, we want Roman. And I saw somebody on Twitter going, oh, you know, they chanted for Roman over Cody. Well, it's not bad for Cody. It's good for business. Cody already beat Solo, right, on the pay-per-view. But the people want to see Roman kick the shit out of Solo because that's the personal issue. So it's not like Cody is not over. It's that's where they want the people's mind to go. It's goddamn mass hypnosis. And Cody just continued because at first he teased he was offering a shot to Solo because he was putting him over. Well, you've done this and you've done that. Move over, Solo. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Jacob Fatu. So he's trying to start the seeds of sowing dissension or whatever. And also it gets Jacob Fatu over because even Cody has to admit that this guy's been unstoppable. But then Jacob steps up onto Cody says, why don't you step up? And Jacob gets onto the ring apron and the fans are chanting, step up, step up. What the fuck? It's like they're goddamn paid members of the cast. And then Solo stares at Jacob and Jacob screams, I love you. You are my tribal chief. And he gets down on the floor for now. And then Cody cuts the promo to promote next week the debut of SmackDown on USA. They're going to rematch the pay-per-view with Solo and Cody. And that's for free television. And, then Solo says, well, we don't need to wait till next week. And as they're menacing Cody, here comes the Street Profits, Ciampa, and Sameface. Well, they had an 8-man tag to sell. But Nick Aldis jumps in the middle of it and says, slow down, everybody. Tonight's tag team or main event is going to be an 8-man tag team match. And next week, it's going to be Cody and Solo in a cage. And this was like 20 fucking minutes to say 3 minutes worth of shit. And the people are screaming and yelling and jumping up and down and chanting for every future match they need to pay for. It's brilliant.
It was also the last thing you needed to see on this episode. Once those tag teams came out, that was a sign that, you know what, maybe I could leave before the main event. I kind of know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And honest, well, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, two things. One, the reaction to Jacob Fatu and the way he was presented here very early on in his run with Cody Rhodes bypassing Solo to bring him up there just to create a little dissension, like you said, although eventually Jacob, as always, acquiesced to what the tribal chief wants. But the reaction and the fact that they teased this, are they already teasing a future Solo babyface run? Not Solo, excuse me. Jacob Fatu babyface run?
Well, think about they're teasing a lot of stuff. It could, depending on what happens from here, and it'll be way far down the line, but it could go either way. But the point is the people now know that there has been treachery in the bloodline before, right? Matter of fact, we got a whole new bloodline now. And so when a guy is as impressive and makes an impression, makes an impact like Jacob Fatu, and by design they have allowed him to do that in his because of the talent he has for doing that. The fans already want to see him in the ring probably more than the rest of them, even including Solo, because of he's wild, right? So they're eventually going to start liking him, except when he does shit to the people they really like and blah, blah, blah. But if you can start dropping little hints now like that, there's going to be jealousy in the bloodline again. And then people will start watching for that. And then it can add intrigue. So, eventually, Solo doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities because they put, and I don't mean in real life, I mean as a heel. They put him in a position where he's the prick that usurped Roman Reigns' throne, but he's also not a spectacular worker that the people want to cheer when he does a wild thing. So he would probably be the heel. Jacob Fatu could potentially be a babyface, but that would be, again, it'd be ridiculous to do that for a year or more because you haven't even had the first match with Solo and the last guy he fucked around, right?
So that's why I was surprised they did this here, because I feel like it almost puts it in the fans' mind now that they should start getting behind Jacob Fatu a little bit.
Well, but it also puts Jacob Fatu over, that Cody is willing to acknowledge that he has been, with what's in front of his eyes, he's been impressive, he's been awesome, he's been dominant. Yes. He's been the one that's been propping Solo up.
But if Jacob Fatu had jumped on the apron and immediately said, no, my tribal chief, not me, or not even jumped on the apron, not moved, but he reacted to Cody, which sets up in my eyes, it sets up the way a fan would think going forward.
Yes.
And like I said, it's early on in the run, and you're saying that they shouldn't do it for a while. I was surprised that they did it here.
I like it because they don't have to do anything with it for a while, but there can always be the subtle undertones, is what I'm saying. And
the undertones.
And it helps get Jacob Fatu over, is because normally the top superstar baby faces are talking about the henchmen like flunkies and like, yeah, you got your back up there, but no, he's the guy that's being focused on. It sets him apart. And as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be a big star in that fucking company for a while, because he has the element of danger that a lot of people are missing these days.
No, and I hate to compare him to a murderer, but it's reminiscent of Jimmy Snuka, who came in as a crazy heel.
Yeah.
And the fans couldn't help but start cheering for him.
And Snuka had a better body, but was not, for his time, he was incredible with what he could do. But Jacob Fatu is a better athlete than Jimmy Snuka was. Snuka had the body. And I saw Snuka before the WWF. I saw him, for Crockett when they came to Cincinnati. And obviously video from the Carolinas, he moved at that size like a fucking cat. He was amazing. When they'd throw him out of the ring, he wouldn't even grab the ropes. He'd just kind of, and he was barefoot too, landing on concrete floors, but he'd turn and let both of his arms kind of break the momentum a little bit as he went through the second and top rope and end up with his feet under him just enough. And you go, shit. But Jacob can do shit that Snuka couldn't dream of doing.